So here we are, at Journey's End. So will Isaac go out with a bang, or a whimper? Neither. It ends in a... don't really care. To understand this, linked below is my first impressions of Repentance, to serve as an intro into this review. It's about an hour long, and in that first impressions I give my entire journey from the Flash version of Newgrounds to Rebirth, all the way up to the present day. So please watch that so you know exactly where I'm coming from as we go in to this review, as once again it is just DLC, so there'll be no need to cover everything we have before aside from a sentence. They're still great, even better in some cases, as with the anti-birth team adding things like the mini HUD and some extra flair to some of the bosses, it looks really nice. Just as good as ever. They still feel really nice. Still a bit of a mess, and you know, the ending's kind of anyone's guess, but being that this is the end of the road, they did add a true definitive ending. There is an actual legitimate end to the story if you do beat what is the true final boss. However, this is the bit, it's gameplay that counts overall, and it's got worse again and then amazing at the end, which is a bit, that's why it's an air. I'm not sure what Edmund's obsession is with this, I need to have everything ultra hard, nerf everything, but at this point it just makes the game not fun when combined with its critical flaw. So, a few nerfs seemingly done for no reason whatsoever, and these are more pertaining to hard mode, which, considering how you unlock the ending with the red key and things, you are kind of forced to play in hard mode, so having these things nerfed for no reason is just a little bit silly. You have less invincibility frames, so it's quicker to get melted by everything. And this was done to prevent Demon Judgment double plays. Due to the extra iframes of before, you could technically get 2 plays for the price of 1 out of the 1 Demon Judgment, as he would take the half a heart, but then with the invincibility frames, you could tap him really quick again to get that second play. Even if that was not intended, being how long it took for Repentance to come out, it kind of became a core part of the game, and it gave that little bit extra in a game that is already saying fuck you, this is hard, especially when it comes to areas like Greedier mode, Ultra Hard mode, and the Void with Delirium. Polaroid invincibility has been nerfed and does not last as long. Why? The Strength Tarot card has been nerfed, and the extra heart will no longer count into scamming the deal with the devil. Boss room nerf. So originally, to get into the boss room you needed to be at 1 heart before you could enter. This was 1 red heart, and then you could have as many spirit hearts as you want. As long as all your heart containers were empty, bar the 1, then you could still get in. The nerf, as you can see from this screenshot, changes this, where even though I have only got the 1 red heart and no other heart containers filled, the gate remains closed because I have spirit hearts. Now you need to enter with 1 heart, period. And given what the rooms mostly entail, that is grey chests and gold chests, it really now disincentivizes losing the HP and disincentivizes the room altogether, as it's very rare that the room will have an item in it. All enemies have been buffed. Projectile-based enemies shoot faster and their shot speed is increased, and all physical enemies like spiders and chubs will move towards you a whole lot faster. And one that leads into the critical problem. Sulfur has been nerfed. Before, using sulfur twice in the same room in Anti-Birth give you brimstone. This is no longer the case, yet it still costs 2 hearts, making it a trash item that is never worth picking up, which speaks to the way the game is programmed overall, which is item rooms, which see then the more challenges, which then see the harder gameplay, which then leads into this is just silly. So, how it works is, as you complete more and more challenges, you know, like unlocking items with characters, completing the actual, like, I Rule and Bob's Brain challenges in the challenge list, the more of those you complete, the harder the game gets. And when you get to a point where you're at 1,000,000%, you've pretty much beaten nearly everything, the game is going to be pretty unfair. And the easiest way that we can look at this is with the way that it treats this, which is the item rooms, wherein rather than making it have, you know, enemies having more HP, more champions appearing, etc., one of the ways it does this is it floods all of the item pools, that being the boss item pools and of course the item room items, your key items, garbage spawns most of the time. Even here in my first impressions of Repentance, where we did 2 runs back to back, we got 104 data miner. This is a garbage item that does nothing. Again, back to back, favouring useless junk over fun items. It was already a frustrating part of Afterbirth Plus, especially when you have to do things like Delirium and the Ultra Hard Challenge, but there were still outs like the double plays of the Demon Judgments and messing with the heart system via the strength card to maybe just get that extra deal with the devil for free that you shouldn't be getting. Removing these things means you're now just still getting the junk of Afterbirth Plus, but with none of the edge. Now, I'm not saying a game needs to be soft. Dark Souls is critically acclaimed for a reason. It's fine for a game to bare its teeth and bite, but it must also provide the same in kind. With things like Dark Souls, it's hard, but you are always in control. You have the power to know when to block, when to dodge, when to use your Estus. The same for other procedurally generated independent games like Spelunky 2 or Monster Train. While they are still roguelikes, while they will still have randomly generated elements, like with Spelunky 2 for example, to get to the Cosmic Ocean, and even more so level 99 of the Cosmic Ocean in Spelunky 2, it's no easy task. It is soul crushing trying to beat the Cosmic Ocean, but it is never unfair, as while things like spring shoes and climbing gloves can help the completion of the Cosmic Ocean run, they are merely a little bit of extra help. You are in control of how fast you're jumping, where you're dodging, where the enemies for the most part are going. That's why a lot of people have started to gravitate more towards Spelunky 2 than Isaac. As again, both of them are incredibly hard, but one gives you more control and feels a lot more fairer than the other. And as you can see from my first impressions, like this particular clip here, when you're at the point, especially for players like myself that have done all of Afterbirth Plus and got the 1,000,000%, I have played Antibirth. I know what is required of me to beat Antibirth. I know what is required of me on the extra hard floors of the Drowned, the Mines, and the Mausoleum. I know the Dead Womb and the Witness are incredibly punishing bosses. I already know what is required of me to beat this particular path of the game. So to walk into an item room and see this trash, I just instantly reset it, because there's no point. There's just no point whatsoever, because even one single item in the item room can drastically set the tone for your run. And this is where the key flaw of Isaac comes in. As with things like Spelunky, it's very easy to get to, well, it's not easy, but you'll get what I mean as I say it. It's very easy to get to the Cosmic Ocean because you're in control. In Dark Souls, particularly number 3, it's very easy to beat the Lord of Cinder because you're in control. And anything that, any little item, any little weapon, sword that you get from the game is merely an extra, an hors d'oeuvre. And if you are that good at the game, as some streamers are, with Dark Souls for example, there are streamers out there that can go through the entirety of the game using only the default sword without getting hit one single time. That is skill that I can't even hope to be able to do. Isaac cannot do this. A run depends heavily on the items you pick up along the way, and as Edmund keeps buffing all the bad guys, as we just mentioned, and nerfing stats like the iframes of the Polaroid, it means that items are going to be even more integral to your success. So to see Data Miner twice in a row, I might as well restart the run, as at that point, that is basically a dead room where no stats have been gained, and so it will most likely result in a loss. And as you've just seen, I do end up resetting the run. Once again, I do not know what Edmund's obsession with making everything ultra hard is, but there needs to be a line. As again, games can be difficult, but they must be balanced with fun and reward, which leads into our other problem of rewards. The reward does not match the challenge. The Guard Him challenge, in which you have to protect Isaac's heart, the literal worst item in the game, rewards you with 2 new pills that are total garbage. Never pick up pills, they are never worth it now. And the infamous Ultra Hard challenge rewards you with nothing more than Samson starting with a really, really bad trinket. Somewhere along the line, Edmund has lost this balance. Super Meat Boy was perfect. It was a very hard, very punishing game, but it was fair. It was just wall jumping and running. And the reward for going that little bit extra to get the bandages were good, new characters that were inventive new ways to play the levels. Flash Isaac was fun, but buggy, and maybe a little bit too easy. Rebirth was perfect. It was a better version than the Flash version, with a lot of the bugs fixed. It was harder, but everything, even the Lost, was a tough but fair challenge, and while not yielding the rewards how people wanted, it still yielded good rewards like the Mind and Godhead. Then Afterbirth was where things got this hard with no reward, adding Hush, the worst boss in the game. Afterbirth Plus going even further with Greedier mode that no one likes, Delirium that no one likes, and the Ultra Hard Challenge that no one likes, all yielding pretty terrible rewards. And that train still unfortunately continues here, where what little advantages there were nerfed and the enemies have been buffed, with the rewards, like for beating the anti-birth paths, not really being the greatest, just more trash to clog up the item pools that are already 90% of the time rolling trash. And even the half decent items that you unlock from the anti-birth run, you know they're going to be rare, you know they're not going to appear as often, so you're gonna have to reset just to see them. And that is really it. That is where we stand. It's fine. It's an okay send-off. Everyone liked Anti-Birth, which was this big mod that you needed the own separate launcher for. And now the Anti-Birth is fully in the game, except, you know, the nerfs and buffs. Everybody's pretty much happy. I mean, there is the other thing, which we'll come to just in a moment. But yeah, with Anti-Birth being fully in the game, that's it. It's now a full, complete game. Every path that we could imagine is fully unlocked. Everything is fine. And overall, the pools, unfortunately, are still just trash. It leaves it as a bittersweet farewell. The most I can give it as the final ever score that I will give out if you watch the Balan review is a 2 out of 5. It, you know, you get that final wave of stuff and beat everything, but it's not as it was with Rebirth. You know, I'll play off camera, I'll do a little bit here and there, and slowly I will eventually get everything. But it's not like Rebirth, where it was like, I'm going to put 500 hours into this in the very first week, I need to get everything because it's that good. It will just be, okay, here and there, with a lot of frustrating elements coming into play with the harder paths and the nerfs to a lot of things. And, yeah. And then there is, of course, the final boss and the final ending, which, if you choose to not fight the witness, if you choose to go down the big secret path, which was somewhat in Anti-Birth, but Edmund has changed it, you will get the red key, which reverses the game. You have to go all the way to Mom, and you spare her rather than killing her, which will yield the red key, and then you go backwards. Back through the depths, back through the caves, back through the basement, and you will hear some pretty heavy, fucked up things where the husband and the wife are arguing, and the whole reason why the game is the way it is. And then you get to the basement 1, and you climb out of the basement into the house for the first time. And you will go through the house and you will see the final boss. And, you know, that's just kind of a setup. And then you get the real final boss, which I won't spoil either the true final boss or the true ultimate mega last boss. But they are fantastic. And when you get the ending, when you, like, beat that ending and you get the true, definitive, this is actually the canon ending, there's nothing beyond this, I mean, I won't spoil it, but it is a happy ending after this journey. It is nice that we do end on a positive note, which is nice. And that's it. That's Isaac. It was a fun ride, but I do think that somewhere along the line, we did go one stop too far. I'm not mad. I'm always happy to ride to the end of the line. It's just sometimes, rather than there being a nice party at the end like Terraria, it's just a run down bus stop and you have to walk back home. Like, Terraria and its Journey's End update ended pretty well. A great final boss in the form of the Empress of Light that in a day was just like the talk of the internet. And then when everybody found out about her secret form, that is her daytime form that could kill you in one single hit, people tried to beat it, and they did. And they were rewarded with the Empress's Blades, where if you've got the summoning stuff on, you can have 9 blades that chew through bosses. Combine that with the God Mode Zenith Blade as this big final blade where you have to combine nearly every major sword in the game. Journey's End for Terraria ended with a bang. Creative mode or journey mode, fantastic. And as we hit that final bus stop and it's time to bid farewell to the Terraria team, they said, we've done everything we could. We've made you happy. And if there's anything else you want, while we can't provide, here's the source code. Here is full access to everything that you could imagine. And now you can make your own Terraria stuff with the Steam Workshop support. So all these big mods like the Calamity mod are now completely compatible. It was a fantastic party at the end of the line. Isaac was more, it started off as a fun train ride, but as it progressed and more BS was added, like Hush, Delirium, Greedier mode, the Ultra Hard Challenge, and then how the item pools kind of just generate the same trash, and now Repentance with all the nerfs. It feels like when making that connecting train from Rebirth to Afterbirth, rather than ending up on this sweet crystal train with everyone like having a party and cake, we ended up on a broken train with nobody that we know. Just like there's some weird hobo asleep on some of the seats over there, and there's just like another guy snorting cocaine off the floor, and you're like, oh, okay. And you know, you reach the end and we're just on like some broken down bus stop, and it's like, I kinda wish that I didn't get off here. However, next to the bus stop there is like the biggest game workshop pizzeria establishment. You know, it's got cards like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! It's got figures like Warhammer. It's got video games, and on top of all that, it's got a nice champagne bar with piano music. Which, you know, you're gonna have a good time there. You're really glad that you did go to the end of the line. You're really glad that you did go to the rundown bus stop. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't have found this amazing, wonderful place at the end. And that's why I say that Isaac is kind of bittersweet, why Repentance and the ending is a bit bittersweet. Because the big mods of Anti-Birth and all these things from the community that people wanted is now all in there. It was great, and I had a great time seeing it all now officially in the game. But then there's also the fact that we've got to go to the hobo bus stop to go home, which is where all the nerfs come in. So like, it's a bit of a mixed bag. But you know, it was a great time seeing it all, and overall I enjoyed my journey with the game. It was positive, and I know for that last push to get all the unlocks, there's gonna be some salt, there's gonna be some I hate this moments, but I'm fine because I know that Edmund is now taking a break. Edmund has already stated in several interviews that repentance is obviously anti-birth and this is just what everybody wanted, but he certainly, if there ever is, and this is just an if there ever is an Isaac 2, he's learnt a lot from this journey, and there's definitely things he would do different, but to do that now would involve rewriting the entire game, which is just something you can't do. This has been 7 years worth of a ride, and it's better to remember the fun you've had, and I did. I found lots of great YouTubers like Northern Lion, I made lots of friends like Icy Blade. In the end, while the destination was not the best, the journey overall was good, and I don't have any regrets getting on that train. So thank you, Edmund, for a fun game, a fun journey. Even if your obsession with difficulty did sour it at the end, it's still appreciated that you put a lot of hard work and time into this game, and it's really appreciated that you really listened to the community and your fans, and you even worked with the modding community to get the workshop and anti-birth into the game officially. And you know, all your other work is still really good. I like Meat Boy, I like Bumbo, and from what I saw from interviews, now that you're done with Isaac, you want to finish what was started all them years ago, and I look forward to it, my friend. Myself and quite a few others have been looking forward to it for a long time. So I'll see you then, Ed, when we can take a cat and rub it on a cat, and then that cat is gonna get all fat.